we've talked about all of the actions, the executive orders that President Biden has been signing almost every day. And look, the administration they've told us flat out, these are things that they find to be the most important issues, and they are attacking them. And among those issues is, of course, immigration. Immigration into and the path to citizenship for immigrants coming into this country. The Biden administration has clearly taken a much different approach from the previous one. And right now we want to get some reaction to that. Someone who has been in the middle of this issue for a couple years because of his best-selling book, Dear America, Notes of an Undocumented Citizen. That is the author, Jose Antonio Vargas, who is joining us right now. Jose, welcome to TMZ Live.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, Jose. So let's start with take your temperature on what you think the change of administration means for immigration right now.
Well, I mean, it's basically night and day, right? I mean, remember, we had a President Trump, who the moment he announced he was running for president, started talking about Mexicans in such a derogatory way and started attacking immigrants whom he called criminal aliens and criminal illegals and all these really inaccurate, hurtful terms. And so from the get-go, the tone of the administration, the fact that they're signing executive orders undoing a lot of the damage that is being done and actually presenting a plan, the immigration reform plan that they presented a couple of weeks ago, which is a very much kind of optimistic plan that the Republicans in Congress are trying to pick apart right now. But nevertheless, that plan is the most comprehensive, most inclusive plan that's been put forth by any administration in like decades, since Reagan announced the amnesty program in the 80s. So we're seeing a sizable, dramatic shift. Now, the question is this ever really going to be a priority? Right? Like, so I've been in this country since I was 12. So I've been here 28 years this summer, and there's still no path to citizenship for someone like me.
Well, this administration, I think, has made it clear that it's a priority for them. When you say, when will it be a priority, who are you referring to?
I mean, I think for Democrats, it's important that this issue has become a priority because they wouldn't be elected without, voters who come from immigrant backgrounds, right? But in terms of priority in Congress, immigration since I was a kid, and, I used to be a reporter at the Washington Post, has been a third rail in American politics, right? Like they talk about it, but they don't get anything done.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I was reading up over the weekend. There is something that's about to happen. There is a march from Honduras to the United States border.
Yeah.
And they are going through Nicaragua, then Mexico, and then ultimately up to the Mexican border. It is a large group of people, and it grows every day. And there have been officials who are warning, don't assume that you're coming in just because Joe Biden is president now. So I'm wondering, this is where the rubber meets the road, perhaps. And a lot of people are looking at this. I'm wondering how you view it.
Well, I mean, look, this is why, for me, Biden's experience, when he was vice president under Obama, he was actually tasked to address root causes of immigration. Meaning, how can we work with Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, and Mexico, right, to actually understand and actually try to figure out how do we deal with the government so that this doesn't happen? Right? What incentives can be created? And when Biden announced his plan a couple of weeks ago, he actually put $4 billion precisely to do this.
I know what you're saying, Jose, over the long term, that $4 billion can maybe change that. But I guess we're talking about for this moment, when this group gets to the border in, I don't know how many, a couple of weeks or something, what happens and how will it be different, do you think, from, because we had this, it was either last year or the year before. We had
it was year before, yeah.
And by the way, desperate people will do anything regardless of who the president is, right? Like, I mean, I think this is something that we've been seeing happening for decades now. So to address your point, I actually think for me, what's different here is we have a different administration. So the tone is going to be different. But what we're not going to see overnight is how to work with those governments, with Honduras and El Salvador and Guatemala. So this is actually addressed so that people understand that they can't just come.
So I'm just curious, are you afraid that immigration might become this kind of political lightning rod again, with the Trump supporters, versus what Joe Biden is doing. Are you afraid you get caught in the middle of that again?
We cannot change the politics of immigration until we change the culture in which we talk about immigrants in this country, right? Like, our strategy is, how do we use stories that are not wedded to one particular party? Like, this should not be a political piñata that we just keep like hitting, and like a ball that we keep tossing around saying, oop, you're it.
Hey, Jose, we're just about out of time. And just on a personal note, you mentioned that you didn't see a path to citizenship. Will you see one if this goes forward?
Yeah, I would see one. And I want to see the world. I know that everybody now is so used to social distancing, right? But for undocumented people, social distancing is like the reality of our lives. Like, we can't travel. I haven't been to the Philippines since I came here. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. And I would benefit from this.
Wow.
Well, I hope it works out for you, man.
Absolutely.
A long time, long time coming.
We'll see.